have to let people in, or do they get
No,
themselves
it'll
in
come in all
on their own?
yeah.
All right, good. So, yeah, we want to get, I guess I want to get me as the featured speaker, right? Um, so, uh, this is Peter Safer in Charlotte, and hopefully this is coming through, but can you put hello in the chat so I can see that we're being listened to and that this thing is working properly?
I'll check.
If you're an attendee, please say hello in the chat so we know this is coming through. Awesome. And feel free to say something about yourself, where you are, what the nature of your business is. I mean, one or two sentences, something like that. Feel free to put something in there, which will help us see who's here and also give us a little context for taking some questions at the end. Looking good. Come on in. We've got 39 so far, but I think we could be up to 50 or 60. Keep coming in. We'll take a couple of minutes just to let everybody in, and then I'll introduce our presenter, Dave Kirkpatrick, but I'll wait another couple of minutes here. Keep putting your introduce yourself, what the business is, possibly where you're physically calling in from. Apparently, it's not all Charlotte these days. Good. I'll mention now, but I'll mention it again that at the completion of this webinar, all the people who have registered will, within about a week, receive the copy of the slides that were presented today and access to a video recording of the presentation today. So you can take as many notes as you want, but you can also relax if you don't want to, knowing that the slides and the recording will become available. Our admin will send it out to anyone who has been registered for today, so that maybe take a little bit of pressure off. Maybe we'll get maybe another minute and then we'll probably start. It's looking good. Got 46 participants at the moment. And welcome to you all. So as we're getting ready to get started, I'm confessing that I have had some experience running the technology on this, but I'll apologize in advance if it gets a little weird or glitchy. I think you'll be able to see Dave, and then once he gets going, I think we're going to put the slides on as the main screen until he's done with the slide presentation. I'll forewarn you, there's 31 slides, but Dave moves at a good clip. He believes people start to lose interest no later than an hour. So he's going to push to get this and not drag this thing on. So anyway, I think in that spirit, let me introduce Dave by just giving you a brief bio on him. He had a career as a store and divisional merchandise manager with a Parisian retail chain. He was also president of the Communication Network Corporation. He may say something about that if there's time. And then he created his own consultation business, training and coaching services. And he has served as a corporate trainer for Jaguar, Land Rover, and Volvo of North America. So that's an interesting background in SCORE. We don't have anybody quite like Dave, and we're grateful that he was able to be today's presenter. So I think what I'm going to do, hopefully this will work well, is change my screen to get you to the first slide. Well, Dave, maybe you should speak first and then tell me when you're ready for the first slide.
Okay. Well, first of all, I need to thank Peter for being with us to get everything all organized. And I wanted to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to to take a look at some things, and we're going to be talking about some steps that we need to take going forward that have proven to be helpful for other companies that we'd like to share with you in applying it for your company going forward in your business. So I appreciate the opportunity to do this. So Peter, if you're ready, we'll go ahead and get started.
And I think you mentioned, Dave, that if they have questions, to put those in the chat, but that we will defer answering them until the 31 slides are done. So we'd be sure to get the content. Everybody's okay with that.
That's right. That's
All
right.
right. So here's the slides, and let me see if I can get a better view of them. All right. And Dave, you'll tell me next slide, and then I'll get to the next slide, and hopefully we'll be in sequence. But now,
Okay.
let's see if there's a way I can turn my camera off. I'd like to. Let me see if I can. Well, give me a minute. Now, I may have to be clever to get rid of my camera. Hang on a second there. That's a little, nobody wants to look at me for the next hour, so let's get that off. Dave, I'm going to mute myself. You go ahead.
Okay. Thank you all again for being with us today. Trust Company is our corporate sponsor, and we appreciate their support of this educational opportunity. Primarily, what it means for you is there's no charge for the webinar. So we appreciate their support. Next, we're going to think in terms of why should you listen to me? I think that's an important question. And let me answer that for you. I'm one of the few folks around here at SCORE that have been a client, a mentor, and now a presenter. I've been all three roles. I had a mentor when I had my own company. In fact, I had two to help me along. And I always said at that time, if I ever got a chance to retire, I would go back to SCORE because they were such a great help to me that maybe from my experience with SCORE and my business experience, it might be helpful to others. And so that's why I'm here. And I really appreciate your taking the time out for us to be together. I've had three careers really when Peter went down the list. The middle one was with Communication Network Corporation. My family bought the company and made me president. So that's how you get to the top sometimes. Family comes in, buys the business, and there I was. It was an amazing experience in many ways, and I'll share some of that with you. But what I do want to reiterate with you today is this. There's a lot of people that'll say, we understand what you're going through, why you're building your business, why you're starting a business. And they really don't have a clue as to what you're going through. All I can say from the very beginning, I know what you're going through. I have been through it myself. And if there's anything today that I can say that'll be of help, that's why we're going to do this. Next. So what you'll find from myself and from other volunteers at SCORE is that we have successful experience as business owners, executives, as professionals. You would find that the whole concept of mentoring, which we're going to be talking about today, is providing one-on-one sessions with somebody, primarily somebody to talk to. You know, at this stage, when I had first got into my own company, I was all excited. I wanted to tell people it was wonderful, and I shared all this. But then when we had problems, there was nobody that really wanted to listen to what I had to say. What I am proposing to you is that you have an option. By looking at SCORE and the mentoring programs that we have, you have somebody to listen to you, which I think is a wonderful thing to look forward to. But aside from just the mentoring one-on-one sessions, we also offer not only this webinar, but many other webinars throughout the month that you can participate in, and they are free, that will help you get better prepared. And that's certainly our goal going forward. And one of the things that we do offer at SCORE is that there are opportunities from time to time to network with other people who are going through the same thing, which I think is really, really important going forward, to have that structure of other like-minded people to work with you and to talk with you. So I would encourage you to continue to think in terms of SCORE as being a partner to you. The next slide. We have a lot of different branches throughout North Carolina. The important thing on this slide that you see is the website. I wanted to make sure that you have that in your contacts so that you can go to it and it will bring you up to date on the offerings that we have. Give you an opportunity if you decide to go forward and to select and ask for a mentor. This is the website that you go through in order to make that happen. Next slide. So this is the roadmap to take going forward. And there's a reason I say that, and the fact that, when you take a trip someplace, you don't go without a map, or at least a GPS, because most of us don't like to ask for directions. This is the same thing in the fact that this is an idea of a roadmap that you need to take in order to get to the point of establishing or moving forward with your business. A lot of it has to do with the one-on-one mentoring. One of the things that's so important that I want to reiterate is that when you're working with a mentor from SCORE, it is all confidential, all of it. And it gives you, I relate to it as a sounding board, somebody to share your ideas, share your dreams, share your direction that you want to take. We're here to listen, to understand what you're going through, so that going forward, we may walk with you in that passage to create your business. I think the roadmap key is this. Just like with a map, it is a proven process that gets predictable results. It's a proven process that gets predictable results. So many times we think our businesses are totally unique, one of a kind. And in many ways, maybe they are. What I'm suggesting to you is that there's certain steps that we all need to take, regardless of what type of business it is, in order to be successful. It's those steps that are critical. We've been through it before. We know what works, what doesn't work. We'd like to take those steps with you. So one-on-one mentoring is something that I would like for you to consider. The second thing is there's 3 offerings here as far as classes that are coming up. A whole section on startup basics. Today we're talking about branding and marketing. And then there's one on finance and funding. Those 3 are kind of the first, if you will, 3 steps to take as we're moving forward, so that when you've had that opportunity, and we offer those webinars pretty regularly throughout the month, I hope that you'll take advantage of the others just as you did with the one today, so that with a mentor and having this behind you, it'll give you an opportunity to make a decision. Are you ready to go forward with your business? Or maybe just as important, thinking, no, it's too much. It's a no-go for me. That's a critical decision. When you're ready to go and to move forward, then we'll be there to work with you to come up in building a business plan. The business plan is so critical. And the fact that it pulls together your company in a format that can be shared with others. For example, a banker is going to ask for a business plan, I can assure you. So if you're looking for additional funding, that step to have a business plan that relates to what you're trying to accomplish is going to be most important. So once again, your business may be unique, but the ways to be successful, there's a proven process, and those are the types of things we'd like to share with you. Next. I do want to mention once again, when it comes to our working together, it's confidential. And it's important that our communications be one that you could be based on trust and knowing that going forward so that we can freely communicate with one another. I think that's absolutely critical as we go through. You're making the decision to go forward. It is your dream. It is your company. And we are here to help you in the process of getting there. Next. Now, there are some commitments I want you to make. We're talking about a partnership between you and SCORE. And yes, we need for you to do some things in order for you to get the most out of the relationship between the two. You're attending this workshop, but there are many others. And I would really encourage you to take the time out of your busy schedule to attend those. The main thing we're trying to do is to get you better prepared to move forward. And in order to do that, we have to have a strong base of understanding and of knowledge. And I think these seminars and webinars could be most helpful to you. Now, from time to time, there may be homework. I'm glad you're sitting down for that. But the reality is this: some mentors will ask between sessions, let's work on this. They would give us a question. And that's what happened to me with my mentors. They gave me a question, they gave me a concept, they gave me an idea, and they asked me, how would that work in your company? So we're trying to take what we've learned and apply it to the business so that we can have a stronger foundation going forward. So there again, having a mentor will help us through that process. But we want to make sure that the business, the dream that you have, is one that's going to work. And we're here, in essence, like a co-pilot to work with you. This is your dream. This is your direction. This is your company. But we're here to help you accomplish that together. And that's where I think this this roadmap can be extremely helpful to you. Next. So when we think in terms of where we're at to build this strong foundation, it takes research. We've got to get to the library. We've got to get more knowledge about the market by our competition. We also need to look in ways in which, once we have our brand, if you will, how are we going to communicate it? How do we get the word out? I think it's important at this time to think in terms of, what is a brand? I would recommend to you that your brand and your company is its identity. It's the reputation that you have and the recognition that you get. That's your brand. I always think in terms of what is the first thing that people think about when they think about you and your company. That's your brand. That's your brand. And when it comes to marketing, we have to understand that identity that we have. How can we best market that? How can we get that message of what we do, the value that we have for our customers? How do we get it across to others? brand, and marketing. Next. Excuse me. I relate to the vision, mission, and values in branding as being a tool. Let me explain. Rather than talking about broad concepts here, let's stay focused. Let's think in terms of specifically what do we need to do in order to be successful? What's our tool for success? It's like you got a bunch of tools. Which one are you going to pull out? Vision. It is absolutely imperative that the goals that you're trying to obtain with your business to be clear. I say it needs to be as clear as a picture so that you and others can understand what is the goal that we're trying to accomplish with this business. In essence, who are you going forward? That's the vision. The second thing is the mission. The mission is the daily steps that you take. It is what you do to accomplish the vision. So that's where that comes in. What are you going to do every day in order to accomplish? That's why it has to be so clear, so that you know what when you're on track and others are on track. And then finally, values. Values is the foundation of the company. It's why you're motivated to make this company successful. What values do you have? What values does the company have? I mean, persistence, dedication. What is it? Vision, mission, and values. I've always felt that as you're working toward a goal, it's nice to know that you begin with the end in mind. I was consulting with the Queen's University with several of their students on the track club. And what I learned from them is I said, so when the gun goes off and you started, what are you thinking about? And they're thinking about the finish line. And that's where I learned the importance of this, that it has to be clear as to where we're going. Let me put it a different way. My wife loves jigsaw puzzles. Those things drive me crazy. I mean, just 2,000 pieces. And have you ever tried to put together a puzzle, but didn't have a picture on the box to go by? It's almost impossible. So what I'm saying to you, think in terms of the jigsaw. The clearer we can make what we're trying to do, the better off we're going to be. Here's a real example. At Communication Network Corporation, when we came in, we really almost had to redefine the company. It was not a startup. It had been in business for 5-6 years, but it was in need of completely renovating everything about it going forward. So as the president, it was important for me to make sure that the vision was clear. So this is how I did it. I took representatives from every division that we had, and we met on a regular basis for about a month. And we together defined what our vision was for our company. Yes, I owned the company. The family owned the company, but it was their company too. So the key here is that they had an opportunity working together to come up with, if you will, our vision. So taking the next step, going back to the mission, the different divisions had different things they did every day to accomplish the vision. Accounting had their ways, operations had their ways, the maintenance had their ways, the marketing. See what I'm saying? Everybody had different roles within the company, but they had one goal, and that's what kept them on track. And we talked about the values that we have, what motivates us to accomplish that. So By having everybody together, the vision, mission, and values became our plan together. Next slide. So the brand identity really starts with you. When you think in terms of as the leader of this new business or the business that you have, we have to come up with a feasibility plan to make sure that what we are doing is going to work, which means that I need for you to do some research in that what information do you need going forward about the industry that you're going into, about the customers, target customers that you're looking to work with, the competition that we have. All of those are very important that we keep in mind as we go forward so that we're building a brand that people will be able to commit to going forward. But we have to do our research and make sure that we are positioned well within the market. Let me mention one other thing about brand. This happened in a seminar I was doing. I mentioned when you say the company name, what's the first impression? That's your brand. So I threw out the name of McDonald's. This is what I heard back from the class. Oh, it's cheap, fast food. It's convenient. Yes, they have Happy Meals with toys. That's McDonald's for these folks. But there was also other first impressions that people had. Little to no service. A customer ordering panel that never works. Or one person said, it's heartburn, David. It's heartburn. That's McDonald's. So what I'm saying is our brand is our first impression. And our goal is to make it as positive as possible through our marketing. So next slide. Here's a list of entrepreneurs just like you. When you look at this list, my goodness, they were pretty successful all in all in the different businesses that they developed. When you look at this list, who do you relate to? In the fact that who had an experience that you would like to have for yourself? Who can be a role model to you? Which one of these? There's two I wanted to mention. Walt Disney. The thing that was amazing to me about Walt Disney is his business was built on imagination. It didn't exist at all. And his business is one that was created. Actually, it was created over a darn mouse of all things. The cartoon Mickey Mouse that came from Walt was the cornerstone not only of the cartoons, but it became the jumping off point for Disneyland, which it was absolutely incredible. But it didn't exist at all. And through imagination, it became a reality. Like Ray Kroc, going back to McDonald's, there were other fast food chains at that time. But what his goal is to make one that was truly unique and different. And he went out to find out how could we offer good food fast and cheap. And from a marketing point of view, the best thing he ever did was Ronald McDonald. He had the clown to get started. And so what he was focusing on, quite frankly, was the kids. When I ask my grandkids where they want to go for lunch, it's always McDonald's. Always. It's because of the darn Happy Meal, the little toy. But that's what appeals to them. And needless to say, that's where we go. One of the things I like about McDonald's, they've got the playgrounds, and the kids go there and they just all go nuts. And it's kind of comforting in a way that we can go through lunch and the kids can go crazy, go running everywhere, and it's okay. You can't do that in a regular restaurant. You'll drive everybody else crazy. But in McDonald's, everybody's going crazy. And so you're in good company. Next slide. So we're thinking in terms of going back to building the business idea. And what I like for us to keep in mind is this, that every business is in business to solve problems for our customers. What is the problem that your business is going to solve? What are the key issues that customers have that they may consider coming to you? What is the problem? The next thing is the products and or service or both that we provide. Do they provide the solution for what the customer is looking for? And then the third thing is a promise of your brand. Why should they choose you? Why should they choose you? What accountability do you have for the outcome that is to come? That's absolutely critical. It's all about problem solving, being able to solve that problem, and being able to do it successfully. That's the critical key. Next slide. So here's a question for you. I hope you're sitting down. Are you a good fit for what you're about to do or what you're doing now? Are you? Have you had a business before? And unless you've had a business before, there's so much that you don't know. There's so much I didn't know. And that's where SCORE was very helpful to me. You know, in my retail career that I had before I joined my company, I was very successful. I mean, we did like $36 million in my store. And in my office and on my business phone, I had buttons to push. If I need more salespeople, push a button. If I needed more managers, I needed help with delivery. Did I need help with advertising? Did I need help with I was in a corporate setting. I had people to help me. Incredibly successful. But it wasn't just me. It wasn't just me. It was the team that I had around me and the support that I got from corporate office to run that business successfully. Now, here I am in my own business. Who do I call? I could push a button, but nobody's going to show up. It's one of those things that a lot of people say in your own business, you wear many hats. And I'm here to tell you that is really, really true. You have to do it all. So therefore, there's no one to call to help. It's really up to you. I guess the real question to all this as you're going through, can you tolerate the risk that you're taking? I'm being real open with you. What motivated me is that what was at risk for me in my company is my family's fortune. We could and almost did lose it all. Can we tolerate the risk? And I can assure you that was a real motivator for me. But going into this, looking in the future, that's something I need for you to think about. Can you afford the risk? If you've never owned a business before, there's a lot of skill sets that you need to acquire quickly in order to be successful. What's your risk tolerance going forward? What I'm saying is that you don't have to go alone. And that's why I've found SCORE to be so helpful to me going forward at that point in time. Next slide. So in order to be ready to go forward, there's critical information that we need to understand, each of us, and that takes some research about the industry that we're going in, Who's our target customer? Who's our competitor? And what are the trends in the market? Is the market going up? Market going down? Where do we stand? I want to mention one thing about the competitor. A lot of times we think that they're the evil ones. They're the ones that are keeping us from being successful. I would like for you to look at your competition in your market maybe differently. What is it that they do well? Why are they successful in what they do? These are things that we need to know going forward so that we can be competitive. What do they do well? And what can we outdo going forward? Next slide. Here's a whole list of industry profiles, and a lot of this can be found at the local library. And I would encourage you to get to know your local librarian because they can give you a lot of direction as to how you can get the right information that you need for your business. There's a whole laundry list here of different resources that the library can put you on. I would encourage you to learn and know as much about your market and your customer as you possibly can in order to prepare you for going forward. Next slide. So, who is your customer? Not everybody is your customer. There's targeted customers. Are they retailers or are they consumers? Where are they? What kind of market area do you have? Is it just in the city? Is it in the state? Is it in the region? How many competition? What's around you? How many are there? The income level. I mean, the people and the customers that you're looking for, are they willing to pay? Are they able to pay? We need to know about all of that as we go forward to make sure that we're addressing our customers' needs. Next slide. So in many cases, our products and our services are either going to consumers who are actually going to be using it or to other customers who are in retail sending it on to someone else. Next slide. So are you a good fit for the market? Let me put it to you this way from my personal experience, being in the telephone business. Have you ever heard of AT&T? Have you? Most of us have. They're the major giants. The question comes, why would a little family-owned company be competitive to AT&T? That's a strong question. It's one that I had to answer. And it gets to the point is from a customer's point of view, why would they go with anybody else but AT&T? They dominate the market. They have the experience. They have all the equipment. They have all the people. Why should somebody risk their communications to a little bitty company? In our particular case, we were located in Birmingham, Alabama. It was an interesting time. We were very competitive with AT&T, primarily because of our manufacturer that we had of our equipment. And they did all the research, they did all the design, they kept out with new things literally by the week in order to keep us in tune to AT&T. So, but what made the difference? If our product was just as good as AT&T, what makes the difference? Why would you risk working with a small family-owned business? We were happy to say that one year we were rewarded the largest contract on a state telephone system in the state of Alabama. We won the contract. And when I went in front of the board of directors after we had been rewarded the contract, I asked, why? Why did you pick us? And this is what they said. They said, we checked you out. We talked to your customers, your current customers. And what swayed us to work with CNC is the fact that when we call for service, in most cases, we got the same person to come to our office. Same person, same technician, same designer, same trainer. We knew them by name. It's the relationship that made all the difference. You hear these things, customer service makes the difference. And in this particular case, it was really true. And that's what made us successful as a company, the relationship we had with our customer going forward. If you want to battle the giants, you better have something in your arsenal. And I can't think of anything better than the relationship with the customer as being a strong suit. Next slide, please. So the whole key is, how well do you know your customers, your competition? How do you think in terms of their strong points to be competitive? One thing that comes to mind is, the advertising part. I couldn't afford a lot of advertising for our company. I mean, we weren't AT&T that were on all the markets all the time with their advertising. But this is something that did happen for me. As a member of the Chamber of Commerce in Birmingham, Alabama, I knew that they came out with a monthly magazine that was distributed to the entire chamber membership. And in working with them, we decided we could provide some service to the chamber as far as their phone system is concerned. And they provided us with full page ads in the magazine, free. It's a barter system. It worked great all the way around. This magazine was going to every business owner in the area as a chamber. It was incredibly successful. And what I'm saying is that we need to look at different options as to what we can get as far as getting our message out. And that's the one thing that we did, is to have those magazines going out with our company on it. And it made quite a difference. One thing that I would suggest to you, next slide, is a SWOT evaluation. In that, before we start, we need to look at 4 things. SWOT evaluation stands for, what are your strengths? List them all out, as many as you can. Flip side, weakness. What are the weaknesses that you and your company have? And this is a place where we have to be really honest with ourselves. What are our weaknesses? The third thing is opportunities. Opportunities to improve. What can we do in order to get better? What do we have to do to get better? What opportunities do we have in the market to be successful? And then finally, and we have to put this as a part of the evaluation, what are the threats? What are the barriers that are going to keep you from being successful? It's all about the SWOT evaluation: strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. So I encourage you to go through that analysis for yourself and for your company, and to see where are we now and what do we need to do in order to go forward. What changes do we need to make in the features that we offer? Do we need to tweak our pricing strategy going forward? Do we need to make changes in our marketing in order to be more successful. It's through this kind of evaluation, I think, that could be extremely helpful to you as to what the next step should be. Next slide. When you think in terms of these companies, again, we're going back to brand. What's the first impression? They attract a certain customer, don't they? I mean, you pretty much won't find the Starbucks customer coming into McDonald's. Or flip side, DoorDash, you don't even go to the stores anymore. It all comes to you. So it's important to know our target customer so that we can't be all things to all people. You've heard that before. That just doesn't work. But knowing your primary customer, what can we do to focus in on them to make the customer relationship work extremely well? Next slide, please. So when you think in terms of the choices that you're going to make as to how you're going to get your business going directly to the customer or through a channel like a distributor, who is your customer? Who are you going to sell to? Where are they located? What's the key benefit for them to choose your company? That's a hard question, but one that needs to be asked. That the values that you have in your business is something that will help them be successful in theirs. Next slide, please. When it comes to marketing, there's one thing that I just want to make really, really sure that you hear. It's only two things. Two C's. It needs to be clear. It needs to be consistent. Two things. That's what makes marketing effective. That's why, and I'm going to go back to the tool again, the vision, mission, and values. That's why I was saying how important it is for our vision to be so clear for us and for everyone in our company, that once we have a clear vision of what we're trying to accomplish, we can better understand how to get there. What do we need to do? Once again, clear and concise will make the difference. Next slide. I guess the question that needs to be asked when we look at all the different aspects of a business, do we have some special benefits? Do we have some features that nobody else has? I'm here to tell you, in technology, that was hard to come by. Because if we came out with a new feature on our systems, AT&T would have the same thing within a few weeks, and vice versa. There are limits that we have. How can we overcome those? The production and delivery that we have, what do we need to do better? What type of suppliers do we need that could help us be more effective? I guess the real question is, why are you better than your competition? Why would a customer pick you? Is it the features, the capability that you have, or is it the benefits, the results that you offer? Is it features or is it benefits? What makes you better? Next slide, please. Now, we have to go back to pricing because I know that's going to come up. There's three phases here that we're looking at. The initial price, thinking in terms of what do we need? We've got our material costs, our labor costs to get it to market, plus we want to make a profit. How much is it? Does it match with our competition? Is it higher, lower? Does it match? So based on the initial price, do we have the flexibility to make some adjustments to our price? thinking in terms of understanding our customer better, what changes do we need to make in order to make sure that we are a true value to our customers? One thing that's absolutely critical is that before we start raising our price, we got to look at every aspect of the cost. What can we reduce? What can we change? What we can alter so that we don't have to change our prices. Because in many cases, and so many times, the prices are set too low. We think in terms of that's going to help give us a competitive advantage, and maybe to some degree it does. That's short-lived. I can assure you, the big boys, the AT&Ts of the world, they can last a lot longer than you can. And so cutting price is not always the answer. That's a very difficult one, but I think it's important that we think in terms of our products and our service. What is the initial price? How do we adjust it? And when do we adjust it? And then if it's too low, can we make adjustments to bring it up? Because the key here is we got to make a profit. And if we're not in line to do that, we're not going to make it. So pricing is a critical thing that takes a lot of research as to knowing the market and what the customers in the market will bear. Next slide, please. So the messaging, I'm just going to say two things: clear and concise. I think that's the one thing that can help you more than anything when you think in terms of marketing. Can we get it across? The customer's target needs what is the quality that they need? What's the price that they can afford? What's the availability of your product and services? And is it dependable? That's the critical thing in meeting our customers' needs. One of the things that I was most proud of is our manufacturer, with all the dealers in North America, they had a campaign and wanted to see who had the best marketing campaign. And we worked on ours as being a little bitty company in Birmingham, Alabama. But we came up with the campaign of serving solutions. So that if you went into the Chamber magazine, there was David. I was in a tuxedo. I had a silver tray in front of me and one of our telephones. And it really, quite frankly, and I'm happy to say, it just took off. We won a national award, but more importantly, it created us an image within our company. We had customers asking if our technicians were going to show up in tuxedos, which I thought was kind of interesting. Yeah, we did have our logo on their shirts, but we didn't go that far. But what I'm saying is it created a stir in the market. That's the type of creative energy you need to put into yours in order to be noticed. Thank you for listening. I was rather proud of that. Our next slide. There are all kinds of ways to market what you do. A lot of different methods, a lot of different tools. You really need to look at what your competition is using. Do you need to be in that same medium, or are there others that you can go to? I mean, my example is I can't afford newspaper ads, TV ads, radio ads like AT&T. But what I did have is I had the Chamber of Commerce ad, and it created such a stir that it made a difference. You just have to be creative or get some help to be creative to set you apart from everybody else. That's the critical key. But here's a long list. I think a lot of us are thinking in terms of the internet as being critical, and it is. From the point of view that when you're working with a client and a customer, first thing they're going to do, they're going to go to look for your website. So from the very beginning, it is important that you put a lot of effort into your website for sure. In today's marketing, that's absolutely critical. So I would lift that one up, but look at other ways in which you can market your wares. So, a quick note here. Our goal is to get to a business plan for you, with you. These are the areas that need to be included in that. I've looked at some outlines to help you develop a business plan. There was 28 pages. I don't know about you, but I was a little overwhelmed by that. And my mentor said, David, take a deep breath. We're going to take this step at a time. And they did. One of the things we did is that we came up with a business plan that was 3 pages. That's how we started, which was really hard in the fact that we had to be really careful about what we were including in that business plan. But we started out with 3 pages. And then in looking at how the business plan was going to be used, who's going to be seeing it, who needs additional information, whether it be banks, clients, suppliers, manufacturers. See what I'm saying? We took that base and expand on the business plan so that it meet the needs of the people who are going to be reading it. But it's absolutely critical to have a good business plan. And I mean, I remember the day that I had a manufacturer working with them, and they said, "Where's your business plan?" And I didn't have one yet. And they said, "Well, come back when you have one." They said to me, "David, we would like for you to be successful, and we would like to be a part of it, and we need to see your plan." I'll never forget that direction that I got from them. So it's absolutely critical that we think in terms of coming up with the process, and just writing it will be helpful to you. Going through this process with a mentor, I would recommend, would be most helpful to address some of these things that need to be addressed. So one thing that we need to keep in mind about marketing is that there's nothing better than a wow experience for your customer. That's critical. And the reason I say that is it's those wow experiences that they have, they tell other people. For example, when I had a client that was thinking in terms of using us, they did talk to our customers, other businesses that had used us. And one customer said that they had a problem. They had a problem. Their system went down. They immediately said, but CNC was there to take care of it quickly. That's a wow experience. I mean, you can't buy advertising better than that. So it's by what we do determines the message that we're sending out. That's so critically important. Something about advertising I just want you to keep in mind. You know, we think in terms of let's get new customers, that sort of thing. Do you realize that studies show that it costs 5 times more expense and cost to acquire a new customer than to retain a current customer? 5 times. So therefore, I keep coming back to the point that it's absolutely imperative that we look of making sure those wow experiences are happening for our customers. Next slide, please. So here's the review. These are things that I would suggest you take a look at. Take a look at it with your mentor, if you will. Because I think what I found I had 2 mentors. I don't know, maybe they thought I was in a bigger need than most. I don't know. But this is what happened though. with two mentors. When I went to see them, it was a group discussion every time. It was just wonderful, so that we could brainstorm on different ideas. They were not here to tell me what to do. That's what a consultant does, and they're very expensive. But what they're there is to act like a sounding board, to be a partner with you in going forward, to provide clarity. I don't know for you, but for me, there were a lot of dark days as being president of that company. Really, really dark days. And what I feel that my mentors did for me is it provided a shining light in that darkness. They gave me a sense of hope that things could get better. They helped me understand how I need to do, how I need to get there. They were ones that were there to help me develop the business plan that would get me started for the first 3 years. But they are also available if I were requested to help me with the strategic plan to take me beyond the first 3 years. That now that we are an actual business, how can we make goals, standards based on actual performance from the results that we had in the first 3 years? So that's what a mentor does. They're with you in the beginning, but you have the option to have them down the road with you as well. Next slide, please. This is a self-assessment. Now, let me explain this. I would like for you to take this, and you'll have a copy of this when you get the stack. Honestly, to go through to help you identify what areas are you okay, but what areas of opportunity do you have? It's really important that you be honest, knowing that it's confidential, to help you understand better your situation. But also, in my case, I shared it with my mentors, and we discussed it together as to how we can make the weakness become stronger, and the stronger get stronger. So I would ask you to go through and take these assessments and take it seriously. If you feel like you're coming short on in an area, please put that down. Because I think that if we know where we're starting off from, we have a better understanding of where we need to go. So I really would encourage you to take this. Now, I'm going to make another request. Take it 3 months from now. Take it at the end of the year. Periodically going forward, I would encourage you to take the same assessment over and over and over again so that you can see, and if you share it with the mentor, so they can see what progress you feel like you've made going forward. That's it. I really appreciate your time. I appreciate you listening. My goal is that I've been through this. I know what you're going through. And I hope that you find that the information that we're providing you is a jump start, if you will, to get additional help going forward from SCORE. We're here to work with you to take the steps with you on your path to help you get to your end and to accomplish your vision that you're looking for. And we would really appreciate that opportunity to do just that. Peter, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
All right. I think that I took the slideshow down, and I think we want to look and see if there are some questions in the chat. So let me see, how do we find that? I don't see. Okay, there's the thank you from Lorette. Thank you. Uh, let's see. I'm not as adept at this, but I would say if you have questions, quickly put something in the chat, and that give Dave. We're getting some thank yous. Thank you, Nicole. That's lovely. We appreciate that very much. Let me see if I can find out where these are. So uh, I'm going to repeat what was said earlier, which is that the people who have registered, which should be all of you, will receive, we are told within a week or so from our admin, you'll get a copy of the slides and an access link for the video presentation. So let me just see. Ebony says, thank you. Everybody's being really gracious. That's lovely. About the slide deck and the Zoom. Yes, that's what I just said will be shared. It takes about a week from our admins. Uh, Mr. David, I would love your support. That's lovely. And David is a mentor, not entirely available, but he's a mentor with Charlotte. I think that was something we've sort of stressed today. If you would like to get a mentor, you can go to score.org, and that takes you to score.org. And then they may ask you where you live or your zip code, and then they may try to connect you with a mentor in your area. You can also go to score.org/Charlotte, and that'll take you to find the mentor. In both cases, find the mentor. There's a lot of thank yous. I can't read all the names, but very gracious, lovely comments from everybody. I'm looking to see if there are any questions. Amazing information. It says a hyperlink for the assessment. I'm actually not sure about that. That's my shortcoming as a moderator. I'm not entirely sure if that'll come to you. Hope so. Um, it says, is there a small business SBA or SBDC? There's a small SBA in the Charlotte area, and there's an SB something or other at the state level. And unfortunately, I can't pull that link up quickly, and I apologize for that. Let's see if there's anything else. Um, I think we're going to wind down. Let me just see. There was one other. I don't know if there's any other questions. Um, okay, someone says he didn't get very good support from that, from the SBA. Sorry about that. Uh, the slides for the first session, um, I'm not entirely sure if you can access them or you have to take the class, but it's Simple Steps 1. And Charlotte and other jurisdictions have that. So if you go to score.org, I think you can put in the search bar or something to that effect about Simple Steps 1, and you may be able to get the slides. They're not a mystery. I'm just not entirely sure how to get them to you. The safest way would be to register for that program. And I don't know, technically, once you register, if you exit the program, nobody knows that. So if you register, you'll get them. So if you said this sucks, you can still leave and you'll still get it. So, all right. So Dawn Barber has raised her hand. Now, is there a way that I can find out why she raised her hand? And do you have a question, Dawn? I don't know if I can reach that, but if you can put it in the chat, that may be the best way to find it. Because it looks like you raised your hand very polite. Okay, she says no. So I guess that means you're, and then Lisa raised her hand. Same thing. Hey, put a comment in the chat or a question if that's what you would like a response to. And we'll take about one more minute, and then that's probably going to be it for today. But we do appreciate your spending the time with us. David worked very hard to try to keep this at an hour. The history is it usually runs an hour and a half, but he said he didn't believe that an audience, no matter how good he delivered, was going to stick with him for an hour and a half. So we tried to put it a little bit on high speed. Even if you just get one or two takeaways for today, that's good. I'm a believer in repetition learning. Sometimes you got to go over something many times. So, yes, and if you want to get a mentor, go to score.org or score.org/Charlotte. There's a little box that says find a mentor. Anyway, I think that maybe, here's a request, but it's more of a personal one. David, can you connect me with a small business of wellness? I don't know if he can do that right now, but you can, again, probably go through the mentors, your best bet. The resources, all SCORE mentors have access to the kinds of resources you're talking about.
Yep.
I think maybe we're going to finish it at this point. I do want to say that SCORE for many years received some funding from the Small Business Admin, which was from federal, and all funding was eliminated. But we are getting to raising some funding locally. Mostly, we want these webinars to be free or at the maximum $10, but mostly we're trying to find sponsors. So in the future, at some point, we may be asking you to consider, some sort of small donation, but I'm not going to play the tape today. But in the future, in order to keep these things going, we're going to do our own fundraising, and so far we're having success. But something to think about that. This person says they haven't had luck with a mentor. Ask for another one. I've been asked. I've had mostly luck, but I've had a few people say that they didn't like me, and I wasn't their cup of tea. So we help them find somebody else. We're not taking it personally. We want you to be connected with a mentor that you feel compatible with, and that's you know. And it says you never had any luck. Well, contact Charlotte and ask for me. I have a good track record. Only about 3% have rejected me, so 97%. I'll help you or find somebody who will help you. Sorry that you've had bad luck. All right, I think I'm going to wrap it up now. Thank you again for coming and for spending this time with us. And good luck. And it's usually a long-term undertaking, so we are here. I guess David called it during the dark days, and we're here to celebrate with you. But we will not abandon you. So thank you very much, and thank you, David. Fantastic.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.